Good morning, friends. I hope everybody's well. I promise my hair is curly at the top. My hair is actually growing out, so I am on the fence of whether I should cut it or I should just continue to let it grow back into a bob. I don't know. If I let it grow back into a bob, then this has got to go in a protector style because it's in its grow out phase. But anyway, I wanted to get on here, and so I had a conversation with somebody a while ago, and it made me think about it now. And I mentioned this before in another video where we're talking about secular music, right? And some people are wondering why I got to stop listening to secular music. I like, Beyonce and Jay-Z and I like Lil Durk and what's the other guys, Rod Wave and all the other stuff. I like, somebody was like, I like to hear the cursing during my workout and all this other stuff. And as of last night, I received a little bit of insight, revelation rather, just by studying God's word. I received a little insight basically about as to why listening to secular music is bad. And for example, right, when you think about it, I'll just use a very popular R&B artist in the 90s who is now serving time. Okay, I won't mention his name, but you think about it, his music was cool. All the, the sex me, like music like that was all cool. It was all fun and games until you found out that man was basically a pedophile. Okay. And I'm not here to debate, and I don't want to hear none of that. Okay. Like, doesn't matter the scenario. This was still an adult that took advantage of young ladies, and he's a pedophile. Now listen to his music, don't feel the same no more, because if you break down all of them lyrics and compare it to what he's in prison doing time for, can't listen to that no more, right? And so you want to think about it to that aspect, and it's like, man, these artists are really going through battling some demons, and it's coming out in their lyrics. And the Bible talks about, loosely translated, I like to break it down loosely translated just so people can go find it for themselves for sure. But the Bible highlights, I believe in the book of Proverbs, that all of the abundance of the heart flow the issues of life. And whatever is on your heart, whatever is on your heart's condition, or whatever is filled in your heart, it's gonna come out in different ways. And it just so happens that these artists, they're producing songs about violence and disrespect to women and drugs and all this other stuff, because all this stuff is really on their heart. Okay, now there's several artists that are out there, all this stuff came out on their heart, and some of them are on trial for various different things, probably because a lot of that stuff is coming out on their heart basically, and it's going into their lyrics. And then so with that being said, I definitely see why it's so important to, but this also goes for some gospel songs, because some gospel songs are under question too. But I see why now it is so important to be very mindful of secular music. I went to a church in Northern Virginia years ago, more than 10 years ago, and they said that they have not listened. They said the last song that they were listening to, I believe they said it came out in the 80s, and it was something about Aretha Franklin. They said at the time that was their favorite artist in the 80s, one of their favorite artists in the 80s. And when they came into the knowledge of God and getting ready to study his word, and really position their whole lives to constantly seek him and constantly glorify him, they stopped listening to it. And at the time when that pastor was talking to me about it, he said he ain't listening to secular music in well over 30 some odd years. And like I said, I see why, okay? Because a lot of this stuff comes off of these artists' hearts. And another reason why to think about secular music is the fact that some of these artists and some of these, with whomever, rappers, artists, or whatever, got a lot of y'all acting out of character, okay? And what I mean by out of character, if you are, I'm not going to say too much about basically certain events or whatever, or artists. But a particular artist, apparently, I was done with this particular artist because of his disrespect to women. I don't care what he raps about, he's disrespectful. So but a particular artist did something on stage that was very inappropriate. Okay. And when that artist came to the area that I reside in, overhearing people talk about wanting to go see this artist, oh, okay, I'm not interested, I'm good. But when that person was like, yeah, this person can do what he did on stage to me all day, that's stuff like that. If you are listening to somebody and they got you acting straight up with low integrity and low self-esteem, and it just got you acting ignorant, and got you acting out of character, or got you acting in a way that that you wouldn't be acting when you in public with somebody else. It's weird. It's weird. And granted, I actually, one artist, I have to use my brother for example. One artist, my brother he's crazy about. He enjoys his music, which, like I said, your preference is fine. But I be joking with him, but part of me be for real when I ain't gonna call it what I normally call it, because it's pretty bad. But there's a N-word in it, but I mean, we're African American, so there's an N-word in it. But for the most part, I say you listen to sad brother rap. Replace the brother with the other word. But anyway, I told my brother, you listen to sad brother rap. Like, he was like, no, it's not. What does that mean? I said, all this person raps about is sad stuff. Like, just stuff that is just so depressing. Okay. And oftentimes this artist is really having this actual event, or he's expressing how he feels, but he's relating to a crowd that is just, they got depression on them, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's really rapping to a lot of to that generation. That's the reason why people generate fans, because they feel like that they can relate to this person, which is totally understandable. But if they have you acting out of character, and that goes same thing for anxiety and depression, like making statements that incite anxiety and depression, like you really have to be careful of. And the same goes for listening to gospel music. I think sometimes people don't like it because some gospel songs really push and talk about the Bible, and some people don't like it. So and I think the reason why some people really struggle with it or don't like it is because it's kind of stirring up the demon in them. You know what I'm saying? It's really stirring up the demon in them, and they fighting it. And so that's just my philosophy with some gospel songs. Some gospel songs are suspect. Okay. And so that's why it's so important for you to know God's word. Okay. At least understand, or at least if you feel like something ain't right with your spirit, with the way that this person is singing this, definitely look it up. Like, definitely look it up. And so I just come on here, there's times where, I like to venture into the secular space a little bit with listening to certain songs. But when it starts getting weird, I always think about, okay, is this what's really on my mind? Like songs like, sexual healing and body bumping and stuff like that. You got to ask yourself, is this the demon I'm really fighting at this moment? And same thing where songs, talk about violence and jealousy and money. Like, is that your idol for the moment? Like, is that your idol that you are really taking in and holding on to? Because God don't want us worshiping nobody but him. And so the second that you start listening to this and you catch a vibe to it or whatever, are you really, ask yourself, is this the demon I'm fighting in this moment? Because I don't want to fight this demon no more. You got to ask yourself that legit question. And that's just something that's so super duper important. And, even with some of these newer songs, same thing. You want to, use your discernment and really listen to what these lyrics are saying, because they might be covering up with a dope little beat or whatever, but the gospel songs ain't talking nothing about nobody's Bible. Okay, so you want to be very careful even in that. And so, as I say many times before, just make sure you pray and ask God to really open up your eyes. So yeah, that's all I have. I'm just letting my car get warm because it's cold out here. You have a good day.